Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
What up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Man Cave Podcast, brought to you by our good friends from Hy-Vee and Toyson Ford. Dan Casper here with you. Hey, don't forget to check out the Swag Cave, the residence branding company Swag Cave. I'm wearing one of the swags from over there right now, the Scotty Sportsman hoodie over there. It's fantastic. That link for the Swag Cave is in the podcast description, so go check it out. It's got some Scotty Sportsman stuff in there for the love of the game. We've got show and podcast swag up in there as well. Well, it is Halloween as I'm recording this, so I'm going to change it up a little bit. I love Halloween in terms of I'm a big, I like scary movies. I love reading, watching, listening to like horror, scary, spooky stuff here. So I know I usually do top fives with my good buddy, Mr. Brandon Berg. But since this is a special Halloween edition of the Man Cave Podcast, I've got 4 top fives here. 4 top 5 lists, all Halloween related here. We're going to go top 5 horror movies. These are my lists, okay? Top 5 Halloween candy. Top 5, like, Halloween figures / monsters. You know what I'm talking about. And then top 5 scary type of shows, okay? So mixing it up here a little bit. 4 top 5s just because it's Halloween. And to change it up, I know it's always kind of like, sports chat in here too, but we got to change it up just a little bit, right? So let's jump right into it. These are my listings, okay? My lists right now. Let's start with the horror movies, okay? I'll go from 5 to 1. Number 5, the original The Exorcist, green pea soup, Linda Blair. See, I'm a sucker too for movies or shows where it's based on a real story or parts of a real story. And if you know a little bit about The Exorcist, it's not really full on based on a true story, but there's elements. It came from stories and such. So when I hear stuff like that, it gives that piques my interest a little bit more. So number 5, The Exorcist. Number 4, the original, the classic Halloween. I'm not a big like killer movie type of thing. It's just, for me, Michael Myers and Halloween is such a classic, the original with Jamie Lee Curtis, that I have to watch it every Halloween. The songs, the music with it too, which I think I might do an honorable on the fly here, top Halloween. Yeah, I think I'm going to do another top 5 like spooky theme songs. I'm going to do that. I just thought of it on the fly here. So we'll do that right after the movies because I already know what mine are. But Halloween definitely on there is number 4 for my list. Number 3, I'm kind of cheating because I'm going to combine a bunch of movies into one, but it's the Conjuring series. Again, like I said, when it came to The Exorcist, I'm a sucker for movies or shows that are based off of true events or anything like that, and that's what the Conjuring series is about. Ed and Lorraine Warren. If you see, I'm a paranormal geek. I ever since I've been a kid, I've been into that stuff, so I know about them. And in the Conjuring series, those movies based off of some of their cases and investigations and true stories and such. So Conjuring series is up there for me. And the thing is too, when I watch like movies, if you overdo it with the gore or the graphics or the spook factor, that doesn't really do it for me. Just I want the subtle, creepy kind of stuff in there too, and I think they do a good job with that. Number 2 is a classic for me, Jaws. I love Jaws. It's not necessarily scary for me, but the thing is, for me, like, big bodies of water give me the creeps because I've always been like this. Like, whales give me the creeps because nothing that big should be underwater and you can't see it. So, like, big sharks just cruising around in the depths of water kind of freak me out. Big bodies of water kind of give me the creeps because I got to see land. I got to see something at the end of it. And just seeing the foreverness of that, there's a creep factor for me. So that's why Jaws is on there for me. But number 1, this one doesn't get mentioned at all in these top lists. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen it in a top 5, top 10, and you don't see it on TV. But again, it goes back to my rankings here where I'm a guy that I like movies and shows based off true stories. Exorcism of Emily Rose, that's one of them. If you have not checked it out, if you've not watched it, try to find it. Again, I've never seen it on TV. I have the DVD. That is a movie that instantly gives me the creeps. There's a certain point in that movie. There's a certain part in that movie that gives me the creeps just thinking about it. Not to give away the whole plot, but there's a part where the priest is in it's in his church, or is in an apartment that's next to the church. Anyways, he wakes up and like the walls and pictures start bleeding, and he runs outside and it's raining, and he looks up and there's a shadowy figure in a robe and it kind of nods. And he said that was, see, I'm getting goosebumps just kind of talking about it right now, but he said that was the devil acknowledging him that the game is on. And it was just, ooh, goosebumps right now. It still gives me the creeps. So Exorcism of Emily Rose is number one for me, for my top 5 horror movies. So since I mentioned theme songs, that's where I'm going with too, theme songs. I'm going to just jump right into it now since I did the movies, and I'll do the shows after this too, just kind of go with the theme here. Number 5, X-Files, the X-Files theme. So I mean that's just a classic there. I think we can all kind of hear it in our minds right now. Honorable mention I will put on here. I'll put the Ghostbusters theme on here too, because that's just iconic when it comes to Halloween. It's my top 5 plus. It's my honorable mention on here. It doesn't make my top 5 because I like creepy ones. I like creepy ones. When you hear it, you are instantly kind of creeped out and such. So, but number 4, I'm gonna go with the Friday the 13th. Kill. You know what I'm talking about. Jason, Friday the 13th. When you hear that, you know Jason's coming. The creep factor's coming. So Friday the 13th theme on there. Mentioned this movie in my top 5. Halloween, the Michael Myers theme song. I mean, that's iconic. The Halloween theme song in there. So that's 3. Number 2, The Exorcist. Yeah, I mean that one's, when I hear that one, I get creeped out. The Exorcist theme song. And then number 1, I think you know it right away. Jaws. I mean, come on, it's gotta be Jaws. Gotta be Jaws. So those are my top 5 plus 1 theme songs over there. Let's just go right into the show. So I added shows on here because I am so really my top 5 shows here, they're kind of like documentary shows, and I'm a sucker for those. I love documentaries and I love, true stuff over there. So top 5 creepy, scary shows, whatever we want to call it. So it's not like any of the like Netflix series or anything like that. Number 5, I'm going to sound such like a geek right now, so I'm going to sound like a nerd, but there's a show called Expedition Unknown with Josh Gates. Bunch of different stuff, whether it's like going through pyramids or looking for Bigfoot or ghost hunting over there. I'm a big sucker for Expedition Unknown. This show I used to watch every Friday night as a kid. It was on the History Channel. It's got to be the like 90s, early 2000 version of this one because there's been newer ones. Haunted History. It was such a creepy thing, like very like non-fancy graphics when it came to ghosts, when they would show the ghosts on there and such. But that always made it creepier for me because it looked actually a little bit more real. They didn't overdo it with the graphics. But I'm a big history buff, so to hear stories about the Civil War and Civil War ghosts and all that, I loved that show. That was my Friday night watching that because too young to go out and do anything. Number 3 was a show called A Haunting. It was on the Discovery Channel. I think I've got like the whole box set of that thing on DVDs. That was really creepy. The voice guy on there, the narrator, is really creepy. They did a fantastic job of creeping everybody out in some of those episodes. So A Haunting is number 3. Number 2, Ghost Hunters. But I'm going to go with the early version of Ghost Hunters because I was a big fan of Ghost Hunters. Grant Wilson, Jason Hawes, the early years. The later on, it got polluted. It was bad afterwards. I didn't like it. But the early ones, when they were just kind of starting out, that was appointment viewing for me. I would go buy the DVDs at Best Buy as soon as they came out. Big Ghost Hunters fan, so it's a little bit of a nostalgia one there for me. And speaking of nostalgia, nothing tops Unsolved Mysteries, Robert Stack, Trench Coats. Perhaps you can help us solve the mystery. Love, love, love. And I think that's what got me into like creepy, scary, paranormal, Bigfoot stuff, is watching Unsolved Mysteries as a kid on TV with Robert Stack. I have some of the box sets. I love the Pluto channel. That's like all the Unsolved Mysteries episodes on there. It's got to be the Robert Stack ones. The new ones on Netflix, I think, are not bad. They do a fantastic job. Oh, man, you know what? I got to go back to my music. I'm going to take the X-Files out and move everybody down because Unsolved Mysteries is number one. What am I doing? I completely forgot about Unsolved Mysteries theme song as I was just talking about this, because the Netflix one, I think they do a good job, and they do a fantastic job with their intro. It's a newer version of the theme song, but then, you know, at the end you can see the shadow or the outline of Robert Stack on there. So, absolutely, Unsolved Mysteries theme song is number one, because that, you hear that, the hair on your arms rise up. That is number one. Take the X-Files out, everybody else moves down. Unsolved Mysteries theme song, number one. I apologize. I completely missed out on that one. But it is the number one top scary, creepy show out there, too. In fact, I think I'm going to have to go binge watch some of these after I'm done recording this episode here, too. So, all right, we've done movies, we've done music, we've done the shows. Let's do the top five, like Halloween monsters, figures, characters, whatever you wanted to describe them. You know what I'm going to go. You know what I'm going to mean when I start listing them off. Number 5 is just a basic witch. Okay, it's a basic witch. It's the pointy hat. It's the green skin. It's the warts all over. Number 5, iconic Halloween figures. There we go. Top 5 iconic Halloween figures. Witch coming in at number 5. Number 4, werewolf. I was a werewolf. Might have been a couple times for Halloween as a kid. Once for sure. 3rd grade, Mr. Waller, shout out. It's actually his birthday on Halloween too, but he always did a haunted house in our classroom. We always played roles, and I was the werewolf. I was a werewolf in our werewolf cave over there. It was so awesome. But werewolf number 4, number 3, Frankenstein. I mean, come on. You're creating man, and he goes on a tear and such. Got the bolts in the neck, the square head, rectangle head, whatever. It's got to be Frankenstein. Number 2 is Dracula. Come on, when you think of Halloween and vampires, Dracula, iconic. Number 1, though, it's pretty generic. It's ghosts. It's got to be a ghost. Whether it's Casper the Ghost, whether it's Slimer from Ghostbusters. I mean, ghosts have to be the most iconic Halloween figure of all time. And let's wrap it up here. The final top 5. The best Halloween candy. Now, I'll admit, I'm not the biggest Halloween candy fan. And I think part of it is because I'm limited in the options of candy that I can have. I'm allergic to peanut butter. I'm allergic to nuts. So Reese's, can't have them. Okay, Snickers, can't have them. So my list is going to be completely different, and it's not going to be like everybody else's because, well, if I have those other candies, I'm going to die, okay, or get really sick. So I can't have any of those on there. Just throwing it out there right now because I know anybody listening, and if I don't have Snickers or Reese's on there, they're going to be like, well, that's the dumbest list ever. I literally can't have them, okay? So number 5, it's a tie between just a basic Hershey's chocolate bar, or I'm a big Sour Patch gummies, Sour Patch gummy worms type of guy. If I see those, I can't stop eating them. So it's a tie for 5th between just a basic Hershey's chocolate or dark chocolate mini bar or full-size bar, and then like Sour Patch Kids or Sour Patch gummy worms. Give me some of those. Number 4, some people hate these. I think my good buddy Brandon, again, hates them. But I loved them as a kid. Sixlets. You know, those packages, those long, narrow packages, they're kind of like M&Ms, but a little bit softer. They're not as hard. I always loved those things. And I'm not sure why people hated them. I loved them. When I got those as a kid, you open the top and you just shove all of them down in your mouth. I love those things, and I still love them to this day. Number 3, the Nerd Gummies. Mike Leach, rest in peace. If you haven't seen the interview he did about Halloween candy and such, he talks about Nerd Gummies. I love these things. It's nerds and gummies combined into one. How can you not love it? Nerd Gummies coming in at number 3. I'm going with a classic Twix coming in at number 4. They got different variations and such, but for me, I'm going to go with just the classic version there. And number 1, Kit Kat. Can't go wrong with a Kit Kat bar. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. All right, so that is my ultimate top 5 Halloween list episode of the Man Cave Podcast. Hit me up. What are, you don't have to give me your top 5s for every list, but what's your favorite, maybe horror movie, your favorite, or you think the top theme song, scariest theme song of all time is, top Halloween candy, iconic Halloween figure, or top scary show. Hit me up, all right? Hit me up on Twitter or X at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Casper Sports, or shoot me an email or something. I want to hear from you, okay? I think maybe I missed some. Maybe I did, but I want to hear from you. And while you're doing that, if you could, don't forget to hit that follow and subscribe button for free. And if you got a few seconds, if you could, give us a 5-star rating and a positive review so others can find the podcast. Till next time, I'm Dan Casper, and I will talk to you in the next episode of the Man Cave Podcast.